Welcome to the movies that f*** me up. These are movies that when I first saw them, I never saw again. And if I did see them again, only because I am a glutton for punishment. The first movie I'm discussing is 1978's I Spit on Your Grave. I actually saw this movie first before The Last House on the Left. That's also in this series. Both of them have pretty much the same theme, but this is the one that I actually saw first. This movie is directed by Meyer Zarki. He also went on and directed the remake. Surprisingly to me, Camille Keaton played Jennifer Hills in the remake. And do you know what? She's also married to Meyer. The fact that he made this movie and put his wife basically through all this is kind of crazy. But yeah, she reprised the role for Deja Vu, and I think I may have to check that out. I'm a completionist. I'm going to use that word one more time. This movie was banned all over the place, from Ireland, Norway, Iceland, Canada, up until 1990, Australia, and New Zealand. The reason why is the violence in this movie. A lot of it at that time was deemed very extreme, especially the rape. Other versions have been released, and in those versions, the rapes have been kind of edited down just to be able to get an R rating for that release. If you have not seen this movie, this is gonna have some spoilers. Jennifer is a writer who rents a cottage up in Connecticut. I'm from Bridgeport, Connecticut, and honestly, note to self, don't rent a cottage in Connecticut. Anyway, when she arrives in town, she actually comes across all her would-be attackers. She first meets Johnny at the gas station. Later on, you have Stanley and Andy, who happen to be there because, you know, looks like there's nothing to do in Kent, Connecticut. Sorry, Kent, Connecticut. Don't hate me. I love Connecticut. Anyway, later on, she has a delivery from the grocery store from Matthew, who is mentally disabled. Matthew then later on goes and tells Johnny, his friends, that he met Jennifer, and the fucking guy, just to show off, tells him that he saw her boobs. From there, Stanley and his friends start stalking Jennifer. They take the boat out, drive by the cottage just to check things out. Poor Jennifer has no idea what is about to come her way. From here, the action starts in this movie.
I spit on your grave.
You need a shot for this shit, because this is what f***ed me up. Jennifer is brutally raped in this movie. I'm talking about, it is so violent that even as a man, you're watching it and you're uncomfortable because you kind of start feeling what she is going through. And I saw this movie when I was 16 years old. I mean, yes, that's a little bit older, but you know, I was still playing with G.I. Joes with my brothers, you know, at that age. So this kind of just me all up. The total runtime of this movie is 102 minutes. For 32 minutes in this movie, Jennifer is raped. She's not raped once, but just numerous times throughout this movie. Like, looking at it, I mean, Friday the 13th was like my first horror movie that I saw, and I think I was like maybe 15, so it's a big jump that you went, and the rape in this movie is just so graphic. It just fucked me all up. This movie was really difficult to watch, and even to this day, it kind of remains really difficult to watch. I mean, I told you guys I saw it when I was younger. I saw it again maybe 3 years ago or so, and when I did, I just wanted to see if, with all the horror movies I've seen, is this movie gonna hold up still to be one of like the worst things I've seen? And then when I did, it's still fucking brutal. It still holds as one of like the worst things I have seen in a horror movie. I am not a fan of rape in movies. Even if it is used to move a story forward, still, there's sometimes it's just kind of difficult to watch. And in this movie, the rape scenes just, again, they become unbearable. And the whole reason that Johnny and his friends wanted to, I mean, supposedly, to do this was so that Matthew can lose his virginity. But, you know, let's be honest, they went in for sole intent for what they were going to do. Matthew said no the first couple times that the guys tried to get him to rape Jennifer. Eventually, he did. When he finally rapes her, feels a little bit remorse in it, but you can tell he kind of enjoyed it. And when he was done, Johnny instructed him to kill Jennifer. Matthew actually takes pity for what they did to Jennifer. Matthew puts blood on the knife as proof to show to Johnny that he actually had killed Jennifer. Salute to Jennifer, because here we go. This being a rape revenge movie, Jennifer takes a couple of days to pull herself together, and she then plans on killing them one by one. The first one that she gets is Matthew. She gets him to come over, entices him, and then hangs him in a tree. Johnny is her next target. She goes to the gas station, shows up, and pulls up. He ends up getting in the car. When he gets in the car, she pulls out a gun on him, and then, just like a pussy of a man, he ends up blaming the rape on her, saying that she was enticing him. So what does she do? She starts giving him a hand job, and right before he comes, she chops that motherfucking dick off. Jennifer does not have to try to bait in the last two. You know why? They figure out that Johnny and Matthew are missing, so they end up taking the boat out to the cabin. Andy swims to the cottage with an axe. While Andy is swimming out there, Jennifer swims to the boat to Stanley, where she knocks him off and he lands in the water. When Andy comes back, she ends up plunging the axe into his back. Andy is at the back of the boat, and what does she do? Jennifer turns on the motor and says, "Suck it, bitch," and basically chops them all up. I was like, yes, 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 kill those motherfuckers. I was so glad that she got them. Even though this is Joe, I'm gonna put on the psychologist for a second. This movie is not for the faint of heart. And if you are a survivor, victim of rape, do not watch this movie. I mean, it is not gonna be good for your mental health. It's very brutal. It may trigger you. It may upset you, so please do not watch this if you are a victim. So in doing some research in this movie, I had no idea that Jennifer came back for another sequel. The fact that she was brought back, I'm gonna have to watch this movie because, as I said earlier, I'm a completionist. I watch all sequels, even if they are bad. Jennifer is probably one of the first to go back to a series, before Lori, and now we just have Leatherface who came back. So I probably will go ahead and check that movie out. Well, I hope you enjoyed the show. Let me know if you saw this movie in the comments section, and if you had the same takeaway that I had. For next week's episode, I'm going to be discussing the French and American movie Funny Games, another movie that's just fucking awesome. All right, so till next week, where I will continue to discuss the movies that me up. Make sure you hit the subscribe button and follow so you can get all the new episodes. Ta-ta for now.